Okay, I believe we're live now.
That's what it's telling me. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, everybody, welcome to the third broadcast of Screaming into the Void, where we talk about whatever the hell we feel like. Just a second, I got too many things running at the same time. All right, so today I have with me Mandatory Carrie, who is going by Bad Dog these days. I'm not going to call
Bad
you that,
dog.
but
Bad dog.
it's fine, whatever. And for those of you who have joined us before, Maester Chow is running behind, but he should be joining us at some point during the show. Not sure exactly when that'll be, but he should be here. Um, and then we will go from there. We have a couple of different topics today. Most notably, and the main reason Carrie wanted to be on today was talking about Supreme Court decisions in regards to 2A and all the shenanigans that go along with that. So welcome everybody. We got a couple of new faces in the chat today. BS and Swiss Miss. I don't believe I've seen you before, but you're more than welcome to hang out. Good to meet you.
Swiss Miss is one of my followers, so and I sent it to everybody I could.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. And we may see yet more.
Bernie BS is Bernie. He's been here before.
Oh, okay. Oh no, I've interacted with Bernie before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, good to see you again, buddy. We got Carrie. We got Ozzy. Or Kara. Sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and kick myself in the ass for that.
Hello. Hi, Carla.
So, and all right. So, 2A, Supreme Court decisions.
Before we go too far, so that nobody says anything later, Samuel, you're okay with my camera being on, right?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, 2A. Let's do it.
Okay. So, as we both know, and I assume everybody in the chat knows, Supreme Court, what was it? It was the Wednesday before last Friday. Yeah, and they struck down the ruling in or the what was it, case law or something in New York.
Okay. How about I take it from here?
Yeah, that's why I have you here.
So New York had a state law that said that concealed carry permits had a may issue clause on their concealed carry permit, which meant that the person applying for the application had to show a good reason to need a concealed carry permit, and a lot of people were being denied, even though they'd met all the other requirements, because they couldn't show a good reason. And a good reason by New York standards, they say that the reason was you had large amounts of cash, security guards sometimes, and restraining orders. But the reality is, no. Whoever was sitting on the other side of that desk from you had to think you needed one, and that's when they got it. And that's without even getting into the highly dubious distinctions made within that.
Right. I think actually Boa sent me an email the other night that was saying something about how that works in Canada, and it's pretty similar. Like self-defense is not even something they'll consider, which is, I mean, it's Canada.
Well, yeah.
And that sucks for Canadians. It does, but as far as I know, they don't have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms up there either.
No, they do not.
So we do.
Yes, we do. You want to hear something very mind-blowing? Even I didn't know this when I started.
What's that?
An early draft of the document that, okay, they're sitting around saying, okay, well, what are we going to make the Bill of Rights around? And there's two more that didn't make that cut. An early draft where they're just kind of spitballing ideas. One of them, what we now call the Second Amendment, was written actually very, very differently to mandate the bearing of arms, at least in your home. You would be required under the Second Amendment as it exists to have a musket, powder, and shot at home. Yeah. Most people don't. I didn't even know this until about a year and a half ago, I think it was.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, just given that, the Minutemen were required to be ready at a moment's notice, prior to the inauguration of the Revolutionary War. I mean, it would make sense that everybody was mandated to have something available just in case.
The Minutemen were actually a subset of the regular militia, but every able-bodied male, I think it was 16 and over, was required to participate in the militia. But the militia of that era was a little bit different than we understand it today. The militia of that area was also the posse, the fire department. Usually they were the local cops because they'd be activated under the posse by the sheriff. They were literally the entire emergency services system. And as time went on and they started breaking off, certain people would be police officers all the time or sheriff's deputies all the time, and certain people would be firefighters all of the time. That connotation about the militia being literally everything fell by the wayside. So today we don't understand this idea that they weren't just the military apparatus that we think of today. They were literally everything. Hi, Charles.
Sure. Well, I mean, there was a time when there wasn't an official fire department either. The fire brigade was made up of the people who lived in that neighborhood.
Bucket brigade.
Yeah.
That's not a joke.
No, I'm fully aware of that. And if they'd had a more efficient one in Chicago when that cow kicked over the lantern, just saying.
Or whatever.
What was that, Mrs. O'Leary's cow, I believe?
Well, there's some dispute to the history of that fire, but I do know the events you're talking about. And what was it, 3/4 of the city burned to the ground?
Yeah, it was. Well, you got to keep in mind too that almost most of the buildings were thatch and wood at the time too. So even the bigger buildings, they weren't like made of brick and stone and steel. And so so that fire just it caught and it spread and it spread and it spread. And Chicago was pretty sizable for towns of its time at that time. I mean, obviously nothing like it is now. But yeah, it was a sizable chunk of it was burnt to the ground.
It was basically one. To give you an idea of what we call today a housing project, back then was called tenements, and a tenement was basically a barn with usually cotton partitions hung up between human stalls, and that's it. Hay everywhere. I'm not even joking, folks. Hay everywhere. Because they didn't have carpeting as we understand it now. And yeah, one wood match actually could have been what did it. There's a lot of different theories that I don't want to get into right now. There's a theory that the O'Leary's cow story was just nothing but racism, and I don't buy that, but I also don't necessarily know what actually did start the fire. And it's kind of not.
Well, and the fact is it could have been a cow. It's not like they didn't have cows in the city outskirts. There could have been,
downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah. So, currently, that's interesting.
Oh,
I did not know that. So, I've only been to Los Angeles once or twice, and I didn't care much for it, so I didn't stick around.
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah. So, but one of the things,
sister-in-law.
Yeah. So that deal was struck down by the Supreme Court.
Right. The Supreme Court ruled on two grounds. Second Amendment. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sure. But also the 14th Amendment that says you got to treat everybody exactly the same, no matter what their. I mean, Sam, look at my face. What do I look like? Just be honest.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I live out in the sticks. Everybody looks like you.
Do I look like a white guy?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I walked into a New York police department, police station, and I handed over my paperwork for CCW, fact of the matter is, I probably would get it before a black guy, right?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Generally speaking, yeah. Um, and what they're not understanding on the other side of that desk is I'm part Jewish, I'm part black, and I'm part Korean, which I don't kind of shocked by that. But anyway, still kind of shocked by that. And I actually do have a couple of issues. The black guy standing right behind me in line doesn't have. He's just a normal guy. And I'm probably going to get it before he does because of my face. That's the truth.
Yeah, I'd say that that's probably true, in especially, particularly in larger cities. Sure, like I said, I live out in the sticks, and we have very, very loose gun laws out here. Very few people get shot ever, and anybody who wants one, as long as they don't have a criminal history, which comes up during the mandatory background check, can have one.
Oh, excuse me. Now, what the Supreme Court said is these may issue clauses are completely subjective. There's no way to make them objective. No, not anymore. That's done. Go home. You don't got this anymore. And I'm just waiting for the New York governor. What the hell's her name? Karen something.
Yeah, most likely. Kathy Hochul.
Hochul, Governor Hochul, to figure out a way to retaliate and probably suspend all concealed carry permits until we can resolve this issue.
That actually brings up one of my topic points.
Please.
So here we have. There she is, right there. So this was yesterday, I believe, and it's a matter of time before I don't think this is going to go very far. The Supreme Court's going to strike this down under the same grounds it did the last one, because this is bullshit. They approved in New York. The lawmakers there approved an overhaul. Basically, what it is that because they're trying to preserve some limits on firearms, they're requiring, among other things, during the background check process, that you turn over your social media, all your social media accounts that have been active for the last 3 years, I believe, so they can go through all their shit and decide whether or not you are a person who deserves to have a weapon. Or in this case, I believe it's a carry permit.
Nice, Kathy. My hat's off to
which
you.
is CCP social credit score shit.
Is that what that was? I'm sorry, I hadn't checked up on that yet because I've been running around with Papa Carey all morning.
So, I mean, there's the article here, and after the stream, I'll link it in the description here. I meant to do that earlier. Sorry, folks, I'm off my game today. I'm a little disorganized, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. So, like right here, it says Hochul's chief lawyer, Elizabeth Fine, insisted the state was setting out a very clear set of eligibility criteria, quote unquote, and noted that the legislation includes an appeals process. So basically, you can just go like, hey, I don't think this is fair, and they can still say, yeah, we don't care.
Yeah, sure. We investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Guaranteed, that's exactly what they will say.
Yeah, and you guys gotta realize too, this is the same legislation, the same legislators rather, who outlawed protective armor.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I forgot about that.
So not only are they outlawing law-abiding citizens from having the permits necessary in their state to carry, you can have the gun, but you can't. It's very difficult to buy one. You can't transport the damn thing. You certainly can't carry it on yourself, open or concealed. But you also can't have armor to protect yourselves from the people who are ignoring that and have the guns anyway.
No, point of error, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Point of order.
Mm-hmm.
In New York, you cannot open carry. Even if you have a concealed carry permit, you can't have it in plain view. Which, I mean, don't start me down that, or I will go full on carry on you. But yeah, that California, Hawaii, and I think Washington. I believe Oregon, you can open carry if you have a concealed carry permit, but the other four, you can't open carry even if you have the concealed carry permits. Okay, let's move on now.
Yeah. So there's that's pretty much it. They just said, hey, we can check your stuff, check all of your obviously they're looking at criminal convictions, which everybody does. It's part of the background check. If you've got felony convictions, you lose the right to carry, you lose the right to vote. I mean, that's been part of the way things have run nationwide for a long damn time. Now, I understand that in certain circumstances, a felon can apply to get their right to vote and to carry firearms back, but it's a rare thing and it's not applicable everywhere.
Well, no, it is applicable everywhere. The standard is different in all 50 states, or I believe it is. And so, most states have certain felonies that you can never, no, you're done. Rape, murder, arson,
Mhm.
a few others. I can't really think of off the top of my head. No, you're done. You committed that felony. You have the right to pay taxes and to pay rent and to have a job, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And
You certainly have the right to be taxed to death, though.
you have the right to be taxed to death. Of course.
But they say there are only two certainties in life: taxes and death is the only way to escape taxes.
Is that the whole quote? I was not aware.
No, I'm paraphrasing.
Okay.
So, but yeah, this is just some work bullshit. And what they're doing, they know that's not going to last. They know that that's not how shit's going to go down. They're just doing what they can to stave off the inevitable strike down from this current Supreme Court. Now, I understand that there were Supreme Courts in the past that would just kind of go along with this sort of thing, but I don't know. Everything about this smacks of totalitarianism to me.
Worse, but we'll come back to that in a minute. When we talk about history, we'll talk about that.
Sure. Actually, yeah, I've got some good stuff on that. But before we get to that, hold on just a second. There we go. So, on a different topic, totally different, kind of messed up. So I saw this posted the other day, saved the JPEG, thought I'd share it with you all. I do have some stuff on this.
Wait. Let me mute my mic just in case I do go full carry.
Okay. It's the gay unicorn of pride wrath.
What the fuck is that shit?
You didn't mute your mic.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, we're good. We're good, because that's exactly what I said when I first saw this.
Well, at least it was only that bad.
It's like My Little Apocalypse Pony.
Yeah, actually it is. That's good.
Yeah, we called off Pride Month. Now it's Gay Wrath Month. Right? The problem that I have with this is a couple of things. I mean, number one,
let me ask you a question. Is there anything good about this?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. And I'm going to explain to you why. So it's the first of all, it's the whole like gay wrath thing. Like that implies that there is in fact radical gay agenda, which they keep telling us isn't the thing. It does. It implies that like not only are we here and we're queer, but we're gonna burn you out. That's what this image says. Right? See, now you're muted. Okay, you're muted. All right. Now, as anybody who knows me knows, and most of you in the chat do know who I am, by my YouTube name anyway. I don't care what somebody does in their bedroom. I don't care if they're gay or straight. I don't care if they're having sex with the whatchamacallits, the pansexuals, the ones who like cookware, what have you. Poor joke, I know, but I don't care. I thought it was funny, and so suffer. But they also chose a unicorn, and of course, the rainbow colors. We know that is both a spit in the face to the old Christian thing about the rainbow being a promise from God never to drown the earth again, but also because kids like colors. They like bright colors, so they paint this thing with rainbow colors. Of course, they remove all of the skin from its face, so it's terrifying. They set its hooves on fire. Everything around it is turning to ash, as you can see here. And the problem that I have with this is that that's not entirely inconsistent with unicorns in lore anyway. Unicorns, mythologically speaking, are creatures that are attracted to the purity of innocence and virginity. They're all about coming after children. Let that sink in. This image is fucking evil.
Wait, I gotta ask, who or what did this? And
I'm not sure. It was reposted by somebody else. I wasn't able to backtrace it to the source.
Okay, I want to know who to blame.
I would love to know who to blame, because this is some dark shit. I mean, little kids, they like unicorns, they like rainbows, so that's how you draw them in, right? Mythologically speaking, unicorns like little kids. They're like the Nambla of crypto beasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I know I have to mute my mic, that's a just ask Caucasian Sasquatch. That's a bad sign.
Right.
By the way.
Oh, we're muted again. Okay. So just wanted to share this with y'all. I know that. See, here's the thing. Like, I've grown up around people of all stripes my whole life. Gay, straight, whatever. Most of them are just people. It's always the vocal political minorities. And by minorities, I don't mean like oppressed gay minorities. I mean like a vocal subset of the group who makes all the noise. The rest of them, like everybody else, just wants to get along with their lives. I ain't got no problem with those people. What I have a problem with is this shit. Because this ain't right. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say on the subject, man. I just wanted to bring that up. Do you have anything? You're muted. Yes, Swiss Miss, it is in fact disgusting. You're also correct, and I think what happens.
How many F-bombs I just dropped?
No, I'm good. But the consenting adults in privacy, not my business thing, I 100% agree with that. What I don't think they should be doing is performing or simulating sex acts in the open air, especially not in front of children. And I think that applies to straight people too. I don't want to see people doing tonsil hockey even if they're straight in the streets. That's not appropriate.
I mean, y'all don't want to know about my sex life.
Yeah, nobody asked.
No, well, no, you didn't. And there's a reason you didn't. Holy Jesus fucking Christ, people.
Okay, we're gonna let Carrie swear his head off there for a minute. All right. So let's see. Society should protect children. I agree, 100%. 100%. Society should protect children at all costs.
Whoa.
At all costs. And the reason that I say at all costs is because one day we'll be gone, and they're going to be who's left behind.
Yeah, well, there's that.
You know, they should be protected.
This is normal. Okay.
Right.
Boys and girls, I am a good example of what not to be in life, but I'm a better example than that was.
Yeah, that was. I mean, you know, even from hold on, just I'm going to bring it back up again. Everybody, avert thine eyes. Even from just an artist's perspective, right? The line work is crap in this.
Well, okay. Actually,
it's not. It's not
okay to me, but then
yeah.
Artist.
It's. I mean, maybe it's because it's kind of rezzed out a little on my screen, but
okay.
You know, it's just it looks like something that might have been done in like a 7th grade art class.
Okay,
you know, by an angsty teen with too much fucking eyeliner on.
It does look like a no, it does. It looks. You take a normal coloring book picture, right? And maybe I'm not sure because I'm not an artist. You go over the face a little bit to get it into that skull thing, and then the rest of it's just fucking coloring book shit.
Right.
The Angel probably does have this somewhere in one of her books. Excuse me.
You know, it's not very well done. You know, I will say that the background image that it's put over the top, flames look okay. I do kind of like how the foliage in the background that's turning into ash, like visually, aesthetically, I think that looks all right. But the unicorn itself just looks like it looks like one of those stickers that you just like stick on one of those coloring books, like, you know, the ones you get for little kids, and they've got stickers in the back. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like they put a poorly drawn sticker over the top of a better image.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's right. And Bernie, it's we love you, Susan, you cunt.
Yeah. If Mama Susan's listening to this, I mean, we're so low on the radar that I don't think that that's going to happen. But if she is, fuck off.
We love you, Susan.
No, I'm not doing anything to get deliberately kicked out or anything like that. It's just this is some dark shit, and I think that kids shouldn't be subjected to it. I kind of wish I hadn't been subjected to it, but you know how that goes.
But
since
you
I
did
was,
it to the rest of us.
of course, because if I have to suffer, so do you.
You have to suffer.
You know how that works.
Yes, I do. Actually, I've done it. It's guilty.
Our very own lioness did the same thing to us last week with it. What was that? The twerking and protests.
Was this when I was late and gay?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not good. I mean, she wouldn't even let me get some bleach in case I needed to burn my eye holes out.
Yes, I do know actually, because I backed it up a couple minutes and oh my god.
Yeah, that was rough.
What is that?
That was rough. You'd think some of them would hit a gym first, right?
That was a reason to find a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And those of you who've been in the service know what I just said.
Yeah. Careful.
I know.
So, but the other problem with that is that like twerking is once again very much sexually based, and it shouldn't be done in public, especially not where children can see it.
Yeah, and there's that.
It's inappropriate behavior by adults who don't seem to realize that they're adults.
Well, define adult, okay, first of all, because calling them adults is an insult.
Fair enough. I will say grown in body, if not in spirit.
Angel is more mature than those people. And Angel is actually brain damaged. She can't vote, amongst other things. And even she could see, if I showed that video to her, she would see, no, that's not okay.
Yeah. So we're
Let
not
an angel know.
moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on. So we're going to get into some esoteric shit here, fellas. So buckle up.
Wait. There's another Supreme Court ruling that we need to go over.
Oh, are we talking about the big one?
No,
Oh,
smaller.
okay. Smaller. All right, you'll go for it. Because I don't know that I know which one you're referring to.
California and Washington, I think it was, were co-defendants, and a motion to quash California in particular's magazine ban. Magazines in excess of 10 rounds were banned under state law. Same Supreme Court sent it back to the Ninth Circuit and said, you need to go back and reconsider this in light of the historic context that we cited in Braun. That was the New York case. And reconsider this case, which is a nice way of saying, no, you actually screwed up, and we're trying to give you a chance to fix it yourself before we call you out on the map. If they don't fix it themselves, it's going to go back to the Supremes, and it's going to be the end of it. That's done as well, and that will be all 58 states and territories. Not just the 50 states, but the territories as well.
Yeah, like Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, that sort of thing.
Guam.
Hmm.
I can't remember the other 5 off the top of my head.
I don't think anybody can.
Oh, Philippines. Philippines is one of them.
No, the Philippines was a sovereign country.
It's still a U.S. territory.
Really? I was not aware of that. That's news to me. Huh.
I'm pretty sure that's one of them. That's just, we'll come back to that maybe, Swiss. If Samuel feels like it, but
nope, we can cover that right now if you want. Well, I don't have anything prepared on the subject, but I'm more than happy to talk about it.
Well, I'd like to finish up with the Supreme Court 2A cases. Sure. Basically, the Supreme Court is saying if the states cannot show a real cause to act on such and such a constitutional issue, let's a search warrant issue. A state has a search warrant that they're fighting to keep, and the state cannot demonstrate that there is a real and overwhelming reason to ignore the Fourth Amendment. No, they can't do it. This applies for the Second, the First, the Fifth. Show me a real and overwhelming reason to suspend a Fifth Amendment right. I can do that. Samuel, can you?
Not off the top of my head, no.
How about a bomb in public?
Fair enough.
The Supreme Court has actually said recovery of a weapon at the scene of a believed incident, you can suspend the Fifth Amendment to the extent of recovering the weapon so that nobody else will get hurt. All right. I don't know if they actually ruled that it was still admissible as evidence of the crime. My training on this subject is very, very old, like 30 years old. But they did say that, yes, recovering the weapon is a separate subject. Yes, go.
Ozzy, as far as legislators knowing the Bill of Rights, I'd say they do know them. I mean, that's the only way they can effectively trample all over them. They got to know what they're trampling on.
Actually, cops know the Bill of Rights better than 99% of the people out there. They know it better than we do.
I would say that that's probably true of some cops. I wouldn't, I mean, I work directly with my local police, not in a law enforcement capacity. I work in and around the same buildings they do. And I've gotten to know quite a few of them, and a lot of them are very young and don't seem to know much of anything at all.
Okay, I got to take that back. By the time you make sergeant, you know the Bill of Rights better than 90% of the people out there. You learn it by doing all the mistakes first. And then you go and you get spanked by the court, and your drug dealer walks. And, well, shit, I'm not going to make that mistake a second time. How do I get around it this time or this next time?
Mm-hmm.
How do I elicit a confession out of this guy without violating his Fifth Amendment right? Oh, I have an idea. And they try it, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, like everything in life, it's all trial and error, right? I mean, we don't know anything for sure. It's like, hey, there's a nice fresh hot flowing lava flow right there, but I won't know not to stick my tongue on it until I do it. But I certainly won't make that mistake a second time.
That's a ridiculously exaggerated example, and yet it's perfectly appropriate to the situation.
I would say. Next time I might dip a toe in instead, because the tongue thing, that didn't work out.
That didn't work out at all either.
But that's what's they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results.
So,
right.
Yeah, that was Albert Einstein, by the way. Just saying.
Sure. It's kind of become part of the cultural lexicon at this point. So.
Well, because Albert Einstein, for whatever his other issues were, he was actually a brilliant philosopher.
Oh, yeah, sure he was. He was a very, very intelligent man who actually seemed to want to do the best he could for people at large.
No, he couldn't tie his own shoes, but
I said at large.
He was a great mathematician, right? And he was actually a brilliant philosopher, as well as the one other thing that he could really do, because he was kind of a savant.
Sure. But that actually those tie hand in hand, and I'm going to say something here that maybe not everybody agrees with, but so the problem that we got in today, as far as the divisiveness in this country, is that specifically as it applies to a very recent and highly controversial SCOTUS decision, which I'm not going to go into detail here on, but I'm pretty sure you all know what I'm talking about. Is the battle between science and faith. Einstein, as far as I can gather, was a man who believed wholeheartedly that you cannot have one without the other and have them work properly. Like that you need science and you need faith. They're two sides of the same coin, and they complement each other. They don't detract from each other.
He actually said those words. He wrote those words down.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Right, but he also lived that practice.
No, you're remembering it correctly, more importantly.
Yeah, and I agree. I do. I mean, what is a hypothesis if not a leap of faith? Sometimes you don't land where you think you're gonna.
Machos and wimps.
But you'll never know if you don't take that initial leap, right? So I think Einstein had some. I think he was in touch with more than just the sciences and the world around him. I think he was a very. I don't have any idea what religion he claimed to practice or whatever, but he definitely was a man of some faith.
He was Jewish.
Was he? Okay.
Yes, he was. That's the reason why he had to leave Germany.
I thought it was because they wanted to use his brain to build bombs.
Well.
Which then we did.
He had to leave Germany because he was Jewish. And if he hadn't, they might have let him live, only to figure out how to make the bomb work. And when they realized that he was not giving them what they wanted, they probably would have shipped him off to, was Buchenwald?
Buchenwald, yeah.
I think it's Buchenwald. And you all know what I meant.
Yeah. Oh, and off topic, guys. you hear all those leftists out there running around saying like Nazi this, Nazi that. Just real quick, I'm going to put this out there in the ether. Those people would not know a Nazi if one offered them a shower. Just saying. Moving on. I think Carrie's losing his shit. So just saying, just putting that out there, planting seeds. Yeah. Well, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. They have no idea what a Nazi is. But all right. Speaking of Nazis and Einstein, we are going to move into the third topic. Then again, this is a little more esoteric, guys. So bear with me. As you know, Screaming into the Void is all about talking about whatever I want to. It's my show. Suck it. I'm just kidding. But come along for the ride.
Right, cowboy.
All right. So I was listening to the Gen X Talks podcast the other day, and I would recommend you guys check out that channel. It's fantastic. It's a boy and his parents, a Gen Zer and his parents, and his father in particular has a lot of great advice for the upcoming generations, and he's Generation X like me. Anyway, he was asked a question about, and this does tie into the big SCOTUS decision slightly, but it involves time travel. If you could go back in time and delete certain very, very young people, your Hitlers, your Maos, your Stalins, your Pol Pots, your Guevaras, would it in fact alter the way things are? Now, his answer was kind of interesting because it reminded me of one of my favorite authors who I brought up last week on the show, Terry Pratchett, or Sir Terry Pratchett, since he was knighted, who talked a lot about time and about the flow of history. He tended to refer to history as a wide, powerful river, and that if you were to do something like that, if you were to go back and make some kind of change, even if that was possible, we're not talking like butterfly effect shit here where one little thing changes everything. If you were to drop a great boulder in this wide, powerful river, it would make a splash, sure, but the river would flow around the boulder and continue on its way. Meaning, if we were to say remove certain despots from the course of history in the hopes of preventing all of the awful shit that they brought with them into the world, it wouldn't matter because someone else would rise to take their place. As in, history is immutable. It is the past for a reason because we cannot go back and change it. Even if we had the technological means to do so, it would still find a way to correct itself because history has happened. Now, I like to think that while history may be set, the present and the future are not. So it is what we do now that matters. And it is what we do now that shapes the future. But, there ain't shit we can do about the past but learn from it. But it does bring up the interesting possibilities. I'm a bit of a sci-fi junkie, just a little bit, So, but yeah, if you were to go back, obviously there are all kinds of problems. Like I'm sure most of you know what a grandfather paradox is. You go back in time, you kill a man. Turns out he was your grandfather or your great grandfather, but you wouldn't have known that because he was a much younger man and you hadn't seen any pictures of him or whatever. So he dies before he manages to create your parents. So your parents are never born. Therefore, you're never born. Therefore, you never go back in time and kill him. Therefore, he's born and he has his children, and then you're born. And then you go back in time and you kill him so that you're never born, so that you can't go back in time and kill. You see how this doesn't work?
Yeah, well, I'm going to throw some cold water on you here. First of all, I cannot go back and kill, let's say, my great-grandfather, right? My great-grandfather on my father's side was gassed in the trenches of World War I, right? But he came out of those trenches and gave birth to my grandfather who fathered my grandfather who fathered my father who fathered me. I can't go back and kill him. Anything I do to try to do that is going to fail, period, end of discussion. I could go to the German lines, fire that shell, and the gun will blow up in my face or some crazy shit like that.
Mhm.
That's it. It can't be done otherwise.
Right.
Um,
Swiss Miss,
uh,
I agree with you. It is never an excuse. This is a hypothetical mental exercise. The fact is that these
oh,
horrific monsters of our history were children once,
okay.
and children, yeah, they those children were not the monsters that they later became.
Swiss Miss, I can address that very simply. There was an assassination attempt on Hitler in 1936, or seven, something like that. Um, Somebody planted a bomb underneath the stage where he would be speaking, and it went off 30 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that, late. Hypothetically speaking, I go back, I know about this bombing, right? I go back in time, I set that bomb. It's still going to go off 20 minutes late, no matter what I do. It's not going to change, because if Hitler hadn't become the chancellor of Germany, he wouldn't have invaded Germany. My grandfather wouldn't have gone to England to serve in the Army Air Force, wouldn't have come back as the thing that he became while he was there. Married my grandmother, who gave birth to my father, who fathered me. He would have married and had children with another woman, who ended up marrying another man while he was in Britain. Same problem. I'm trying to never an excuse to kill a child. Okay, kill the adult when we know exactly what he becomes 2 or 3 years later. Um, it's still not going to work. The bomb's going to go off 20 minutes late and kill some some other speaker. I don't even know who would kill, to be honest with you. It's the same thing over and over again. It doesn't matter. Even Futurama admits that, yeah, it's not the way it works.
Yeah. Well, and even if you went back to, say, an earlier period of his time, like when he was a shitty art student in Vienna, for instance, and maybe doctored his grades a little bit, maybe got that
Great,
instructor of his to give him some more positive reinforcement. Maybe he
great.
would have gone on to be a mediocre painter instead of a ruthless dictator.
Nope.
Well, I don't believe, even if that was the case, I think that someone else would have risen up to fill the role that history needed. And it sucks that all that shit happened. It does, but I don't believe that. And I don't believe in predestiny so much as history knows its course.
The only thing you can really do is go back in history and make sure that the thing that happened at least looks like it happened. And Samuel mentioned Sir Terry. Well, Sir Terry addressed this a little bit in one of his books when the orangutan goes back to a library that burns to the ground and starts grabbing random scrolls off of the shelves to take back with him. So the library is still destroyed. Those scrolls are thought to be lost. Well, no, the orangutan went back in time and saved them during the actual fire itself. And that's the best we could ever hope for. Let's go
Sure.
to the Nazi example. Go back and kill Hitler? No. Theoretically, you could go back to Buchenwald, Dachau, whatever, and people who were going to the chambers, make them fall through a hole in the deck, out of the chamber into, well, let's say 2120. So now they're alive 1,000 years, 2,000 years later, whatever. 2,000 years later, um, they're still alive now. Great, good for them. But in that time frame, in the 1920s, they're thought to be dead, and that's it.
Well, just to kind of put a cap on that, I'm going to quote some Terry Pratchett here. I have some of it pulled up in
Oh,
regards to
please.
time and history, because he said a number of things that I think were very, very apropos. In particular, history isn't like that. History unravels gently like an old sweater. It has been patched and darned many times, reknitted to suit different people, shoved in a box under the sink of censorship to be cut up for the dusters of propaganda. Yet it always, eventually, manages to spring back into its old familiar shape. History has a habit of changing the people who think they are changing it. History always has a few tricks up its frayed sleeve. It's been around a long time.
And I can say, as somebody with a history degree, yeah, we're real bad for that. We are terrible for that.
Yeah, and one more actually, I think, and this plays into what I was saying about not being able to do much about it, and it goes directly into our dictator talk here, I think. And I quote: "The universe doesn't much care if you tread on a butterfly. There are plenty more butterflies. Gods might not note the fall of the sparrow, might note the fall of the sparrow, but they don't make an effort to catch them. Shoot the dictator and prevent the war? But the dictator is merely the tip of the whole festering boil of social pus from which dictators emerge. Shoot one, and there'll be another one along in a minute. Shoot him too? Why not shoot everyone and invade Poland? In 50 years, 30 years, 10 years' time, the world will be very nearly back on its old course. History always has a great weight of inertia." Welcome, Maester Chow.
What's up? Sorry I'm late. Had a bunch of family shit to do.
No worries.
You're late in the day.
You walked in just as I was quoting the late, great Sir Terry Pratchett.
Ah, gotcha.
Rest his soul in peace.
Yeah.
I missed that guy. I can't bring
yeah.
myself to read the last book because I know there's no more Discworld after that.
I am 2/3 of the way through it, and I have been 2/3 of the way through it for 2 years.
Fair enough.
It's very good. For those of you in the chat who aren't aware of Sir Terry Pratchett's work, particularly his Discworld series, I would highly recommend checking him out. He possibly, how did they put it? Terry Pratchett is the kindest, most wonderful teacher that you will ever have.
And he was funny.
Oh, side-splittingly.
Yeah.
Side-splittingly.
But he was funny in a way that makes you have to think. I mean, not just, funny slapstick, haha. He was funny like, really? Huh.
An orangutan.
Yes.
And if you ever get a chance, read the book Boots in the Coal Seam, because that was actually foundation for what became Discworld later on in life.
Boots in the Coal Seam.
Things just keep rolling on up in his life.
All right. Hey, Sam, you got a piece of paper? Want to make a note of that for me?
Yeah, I will check that out and get that to you.
Sweet. Thanks, buddy.
I would also recommend the book Strata, also by Terry Pratchett. It's science fiction, but it lays the foundation, literally the foundation of Discworld.
So I really enjoyed Nation.
Really?
I mean, not a Discworld book, but definitely an amazing one.
Oh no, it was excellent. The reason I brought up Strata was because it was the first time he played around with the theory of a flat world.
Fair enough. And I'm assuming the Great Atuan wasn't there.
No. That was Boots in the Coal Seam.
Was it? Because Strata was the one where they went around and built worlds from the ground up and then placed settlers on them. And then
okay, we're talking about the same book. Different name, same book.
Oh, well, in that case, I think I've got a copy of Strata somewhere. So
lost my copy of Boots in the divorce. Moving on.
All right. So I know I missed basically everything and everyone, and I apologize for that. But I am Maester Chow, Bad Dog. I have not met you yet, but it's good to meet you.
Yeah, you've met him in chat. This is Carrie.
Oh, Carrie. Okay, you're the one I wanted to talk about 2A with. Gotcha.
Yes.
Bad Dog. Bad Dog.
Yeah.
So
he likes to change his on-screen names to be more or less offensive depending on the situation.
Fair enough.
More offensive.
Fair enough.
I mean, Samuel's seen me at almost my worst. Too bad Squatch couldn't make it. He's seen me at my worst.
Fair enough. I'll say Sam's seen me pretty far down there.
Drunk or sober?
Both.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Same here.
So yeah, because my problem is I love the taste of alcohol. I love drinking. I can't get enough of it, and when I do, it never stops.
I was a functional alcoholic, so I can drink a little bit. I've been drinking during the stream.
Yeah.
Love you, Susan. Moving right along.
But you're using a straw, right? We're good.
Yeah, as long as you drink through a straw. I mean,
as long as it's not one of those ridiculous fucking paper straws.
Right.
Actually, I'm at Papa Carey's right now, so no straws. They're illegal in the state.
Fair enough.
Gotcha.
So, Maester, now that you're here, did you have anything that you wanted to ask Carey about directly?
Well, I mean, really, it's nice hearing, when it comes to 2A, I consider myself a Second Amendment absolutist, meaning, is it arms? Then yes, we can have it. What kind of arms? Doesn't matter. The Constitution says we can have it. Thoughts?
I'm not quite there, which is, I am the weirdo of the 2A community, right? The words mandatory carry is not a catchy name. I really do think, unless you have a specific reason to say otherwise, you should be required by law and penalized by a huge, heavy, painful fine for refusing to carry while you're in public. Okay.
I can get on board with that thought. I mean, the fact is we live in a society where, there have been a lot of tragedies and a lot of atrocities, and I know people say, "Oh, it's dumb to think," but they could have been stopped by a good guy with a gun because the bad guy had one.
We live in a society.
Shut up, Jared Leto.
As a matter of fact, there was one just last week. Absolutely would have been mass shooting. As a matter of fact, I think it does qualify as a mass shooting. 3 people shot. This is the standard I use. 3 people shot, whether they die or not, other than the shooter, and that mass shooting was stopped before it got any worse because somebody there shot back. I don't know all of the details. I'm sorry. It was just a quick blurb as I'm trying to get ready for something else, and then it went away, and
right.
Sucks for me. Let me guess, though. You're going to say that if I want an automatic weapon, I should be allowed to carry one in public, right?
No, actually, that I still think they need to ease the restrictions on automatics. I mean, I understand you can get the tax stamp and go through the NFA stuff. Say what?
There's 2 of us in the world.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I don't believe you should be allowed to have an automatic weapon. Yeah. That's more than you should ever need.
I think I need a 16-gun warship.
But what about 3-round burst? I mean, not full auto, because I mean
burst and or automatic. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Semi-auto, yes. Semi-auto, anything that doesn't explode.
Okay.
Yeah. As I've been going along, I've been writing basically a proposal for a constitutional amendment.
All right.
It addresses the question of, how big is big. Nowhere in there does it actually say you can't have an autocannon. It just says you can't have explosive rounds.
Fair enough. I'm going to be muting my microphone for just a second. I'm still listening. I have to look outside because it sounds like some shit just rolled in.
Okay. So, okay. Could you highlight that last one, Sam? If we had an absolute 2A, we would have 3 to 6 months of severe bloodshed, particularly in the cities. However, we would have a very polite society afterwards. I'm in for this. Swiss Miss, I disagree. I don't think that the severe bloodshed would last 24 hours because people would get a hint about 20 seconds in, hey, this is a bad idea. I probably should just go home.
Well, in Swiss, it's been said that an armed society is definitely a polite society.
And it's more likely to be less volatile because no question or doubt in your mind, if I take my gun out and start shooting people, everybody's going to shoot back at me, and that's going to be very bad for my day. This is a suicide plan. That's all it is at that point.
I was just reading a book this weekend, Caliban's War. Forget the name, James S.A. Carey. It's actually two authors. I forget what their given names are. Y'all might be familiar with the TV show on Amazon Prime, The Expanse. This is the second novel in the series that show is based on. And there was a character in it who went along for the ride on a mission to retrieve his daughter. This guy's a botanist. He doesn't have any idea how to use a weapon, anything like that. And they give him one anyway, which turns out to be a bad idea. Now, they get into a room and there's a bunch of bad guys and they're hanging out. And they've all got guns. And, of course, they're like, yeah, we're not going to surrender our guns. And the other guys are like, no, you are. So the botanist was, of course, very high-strung because he's looking for his child. And so he cocks the weapon because in his mind and in the movies that he's seen, cocking the weapon is seen as a punctuation mark and not so much a direct threat. And the next thing he knows, everybody around him is on the ground.
Right.
A great deal of them are dead. And then he asks, what just happened? And the dude stands up and he goes, you just started a gunfight.
Yes. I only caught half of that, but so scratch that down so I can watch this and or read it at some point. Por favor.
I will definitely make sure you have access to it. Yes.
Sweet. Thanks, buddy.
Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody's been listening to my streams or something. I don't know. But that reminds me of something that my partner, Fixed Bayonets, happened to her when she was in Bosnia. She relieved another Marine for a couple minutes so he could take a leak on the Overwatch gun. That's the gun that covers the main approach to the base. She sees some guys coming up the road acting in a strange fashion. I wish she was here to defend herself. But anyway, what she's described as a strange fashion. She fired one warning shot. The next thing she knows is her staff sergeant is banging on her helmet saying, "Stop! Cease firing! God damn it!" She, to the best of my knowledge, she still doesn't remember anything that happened between those 2 points in time. She's put it together from what everybody else has told her. She opened fire on them, reloaded the gun, continued to fire. And somewhere in that second belt is when the staff sergeant's banging on her helmet, yelling, cease firing, because she doesn't remember anything that happened. The only thing she does remember is somebody screaming, and apparently that was her.
Fair point.
So fast, you don't always know what happened.
Right. Well, and so I guess that makes a lot of sense why you would say, no one needs an automatic / 3-round burst weapon, under really any circumstances, because God only knows how much damage you do at that point in time. If you had, say a bandolier full of mags on you and you're just, drop and pop.
Maybe that's what's happening.
That's possible. And I mean, also with the rampant PTSD that goes on in today's society, especially in the veteran communities. I mean, well, like you were saying, she has no idea what happened between, the first time she pulled the trigger and when Staff Sarge was saying, stop firing, God damn it. We compartmentalize a lot of those things. And I almost wonder how much of, if another traumatic, and I know Sam hates this word, but triggering event were to happen, and that the whole, spraying a gust of lead down the road happened, how many answers would we be able to get? How would they justify that? I mean, how would you even prosecute, defend anything like that? So I see where you're coming from.
In that case, I'll excuse the word triggering because I think it's appropriate when it comes to battlefield stuff and soldiers and shell shock. I absolutely believe that that's appropriate there. My issue with the word is that it's used by every Gen Zer with too much fucking makeup on and not enough time to figure out there are only two genders.
Right. They were triggered.
Because they stubbed their fucking toe.
Yeah.
Because they stubbed their fucking toe.
Yeah.
They don't know what trauma is. They don't know what suffering is. And they also don't realize that without struggle, you don't grow and you might as well be dead.
Well, it's that age-old saying, strong men make good times make weak men make hard times make strong men. And right now, we're in, weak men making hard times.
Yeah.
But enough about Joe.
Come on, man. I was just getting the my hairy legs and the kids and
this was my good behavior.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Good Lord.
For everybody who's with us today who doesn't know, although I think that most of you probably do, Carrie and I moderate for another channel, The Exiled Lioness, which we should be having a stream tonight. And we have one of our consistent members who shows people who shows up in the chat is a guy who goes by Corn Pop.
He's there.
He's hilarious. He's got to be one of my favorite trolls on the internet. He's a real fun dude, and every time he shows up, invariably one of the other people in chat, sometimes it's even me, says, "Uh-oh, there's a bad dude."
And every time she sees him for the first time, it's Corn Pop was a bad dude. Have you noticed that, Sam? Each and every time.
Yeah. So, real quick, off topic, for anybody who's interested, this is the book I was referring to. That's obviously a Spanish copy because I apparently can't find the right goddamn image. Apologies.
But cool art.
Yeah. Well, it's science fiction. It's the second book. There we go. It's the second book in this series. The first one is Leviathan Wakes. I'm only about a third of the way through this one, so I haven't gotten that far. I did watch the television show, which it's based on. Kind of falls off in season 5 pretty hard. Picks back up in season 6, which was too short. Otherwise, first 4 seasons, primo television.
Oh, fair enough.
But yeah, this was the one I was mentioning. Just for anybody who's interested, James S. A. Corey writes the series. It's the series is The Expanse. Pretty good so far. I'm not gonna go out on a limb and say all the book. There's like 8, maybe 9 books in the series, and a bunch of like supplementary stuff, short stories, that kind of thing. Right. I haven't read all of those, so I'm not gonna go ahead and say that they're all great. I don't know yet. First book was excellent. This one's pretty good so far. So that's my endorsement for the day. I just thought I would get that out there for anybody who is in the chat who was curious about that. Also, anything by Terry Pratchett is good. Go read Terry Pratchett.
Yeah.
Yes. Read Terry Pratchett.
Please.
For the love of God, read Terry Pratchett.
So, well, no. See, if Terry were here to defend himself, he'd say, "Well, no, not for the love of God, but maybe you should go ahead and read it anyway."
Right.
Because
right. That is true.
Well, he would also say, in regards to all of the social justice crap, there is no justice. There's just us.
Pretty much.
I maybe if you caught him on a good day when he wasn't feeling like fighting. And
yeah.
I wish I know you were going to bring that up, or I would have dug up which one he talks about that in.
Sure. Well, there's like 43 books in the series now.
Yeah, something like that.
It's one of the ones about vampires.
Carpe Jugulum.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Maybe Carpe Jugulum was one of the ones big about vampires, so it might have been that one. Yeah, it's the one where they start going a little bit off the off
Yeah,
the
that was Carpe Jugulum. They roll into Lancre and they want to do like things the new way and not worry about.
and then the master wakes up and says, "Come here, stupid."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one.
It's a good book. It's got some great characters in it. Esme Weatherwax is you want to talk about strong women in fiction? Esme Weatherwax is the queen of badassery.
Right. And headology.
Yeah.
Granny
And
Weatherwax.
she's ancient.
Right.
Oh, she dated the head of
Red Cully?
Red Cully. She dated.
Yeah, when they were young. Sure. Yeah. That was younger rather. That was in one of the earlier books. It was the only one where the witches and the wizards really crossed over too. I can't remember the title though.
The one about the moving pictures. It was moving pictures.
No, Moving Pictures was about Hollywood.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's that or one other is the only time they really cross paths.
Yeah, Moving Pictures was one of the ones that was outside of the main groups of books, though. That was a Dibbler book.
Of course, I am Swiss Miss. Are you kidding? We love you, Susan. You cunt.
Yep. So, anything else you guys want to cover today? I have gone through my list of topics. I don't know, Mr. Chow, if you had anything to add on anything that because I sent you the list earlier.
Give me just 1 second here. Hopefully I'm still streaming. I dropped out of the
No, we got you.
app for a second there.
While you put your thoughts together, do you mind if I give my 2-minute lecture?
Fire away.
Go for it.
Okay. So, generally speaking, everybody says the Second Amendment was written because we just come off this war with Britain, right? The
Right.
Revolutionary War. Would you believe that has absolutely nothing to do with anything?
Okay. Explain.
The background to the revolution actually starts 20 years before with the French and Indian Wars.
Yeah.
Okay. However the war started, that's it.
Right.
The French-backed Indians were raiding British colonial frontier lands, small villages, farms, etc. So the people had to arm to defend themselves against these raids. That's when the militias really formed in earnest.
Okay.
That was the only defense these people had against these raids until Britain generously sent a couple of, I think, regiments across the ocean. That started a chain of events that would end in the revolution, but the root of the Second Amendment starts in the French and Indian Wars. 25 years, I think it is, before the Battle of Yorktown.
Fair enough.
Has the revolution is totally irrelevant. If the frontier had not had armed men, they'd all be dead.
Right.
Now, you're probably thinking that the militias on the frontier, well, that has nothing to do with it's irrelevant. During the revolution, there was a Indian raid in a place called Cherry Valley, New York. It's deep inside of what is now the state of New York, colony at the time. Over 130, I think it was, people were massacred. And over 100 more were taken hostage to be ransomed back. And this is in 1770 shit. I can't remember the year exact.
1770 shit sounds about right.
1770 shit.
Works for me.
It was towards the end of the war, though. As deep into New York as that was, an Indian raid was thought to be absolutely impossible. So the village was barely armed. As late as that, and this is still going on, is the reason why we have a Second Amendment.
Fair point. I mean, and that I would definitely agree. Is most likely the basis for it. I'm not as much of a revolutionary history buff because, well, I don't know, never really dug into it that hard, and maybe I should have. I mean, but I still think that the Second Amendment is still tantamount to protecting ourselves from the tyranny of the majority, which is what the framers of the Constitution put that whole thing together for. I mean, that's why we were formed as a republic, and it bothers me that people go around saying, oh, we need to protect our democracy. No, we need to protect some of our democratic institutions, but we don't have a democracy. There's no multicultural democracy that they're trying to start here. It's a constitutional republic with democratic institutions inside of it. And at some point, when they continue to use the Constitution as toilet paper like they have been, turning it into Swiss cheese and wiping their collective asses with it, we're going to be glad we had those Second Amendment rights to protect ourselves from that tyranny when it happens. And the way things are looking, it's going to happen. I just don't know when. I don't want it to. But the America that I grew up in, the America that I was born into, it seems like that America is really starting to go away, and it breaks my heart.
That's one of my major grading points. But the important part is the first purpose of the Second Amendment was to meet unlawful force with like force.
Correct.
Now, that unlawful force is 99% of the time going to be a mugger or an Indian raid or a common terrorist.
Right.
The Ariana Grande bombing, that's a common terrorist. The London Bridge bombing, not bombing, but it was thought to be a bombing at the time. Common terrorist. And it might be the state bringing the unlawful force. That has happened. I don't worry about proving it to me of all people.
Right.
But the first purpose was to meet unlawful force with like force.
Right. It's like, the saying, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Bring a gun to a knife fight.
Oh shit, I'll bring the knife, the gun, brass knuckles, pepper spray,
blackjack.
Sure, but with the like these Antifa assholes running around with their cautious and their blackjacks and shit. Like I got an equalizer in the trunk of my car. It's called a brick.
Yes.
Man, ain't no tool. That's a damn brick.
Yeah. You do carry a brick around. I forget about that.
I do carry a brick around. It's important. You know what? You can use a brick for all kinds of shit. It's not just for bashing skulls. You can use it as wheel chocks. You can use it to prop the door open. You can use it to replace a missing key.
Right.
You can do all kinds of things with a brick. It's a problem-solving implement.
Well, and then there's the other implement that goes with you on every road trip that you take.
Oh yeah, my axe.
Yep.
Axes are useful things, people. They are useful things. You can
do not
all
disagree.
Kinds of stuff. And my axe has a helmet spike for zombies.
Yes.
Nice. You want to hear about a much more recent example of the Second Amendment being applied that nobody talks about and nobody seems to realize?
Yes, I would.
May Day riot in Olympia, Washington. Facts of the case are Antifa was there to protest another group, or another group was there to counter-protest Antifa. I'm not sure how that part happened.
Okay.
The cameras start after the other group went away. The cops said, you got to go. This is done. Go home. And they were saying it to both sides. The other group had gone away. Some homeless people, and I met one of them, the kid with the dog. I met him when I was in Salem. The homeless started getting kind of mad because there's trash everywhere. They're going to get blamed for this trash.
Right.
It's their fault or not, they're going to get blamed for it.
Right. I didn't say it was your fault. I said I'm blaming you for it.
Exactly. One of the homeless people starts getting pissed and saying, hey, you're going to pick up your trash, blah, blah, blah. And the Antifa say something off camera that I can't hear. Maybe you can. I don't know. I haven't. So one of the homeless kids picks up a piece of trash and chucks it back at them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was kind of inappropriate, but I get it. Hey, take your own trash. Don't stop getting us in trouble for your shit.
Like, just because I'm homeless doesn't mean I don't have some fucking pride.
Well, besides that, one of the Antifas started throwing rock. At least one of them started throwing rocks, and it was an all-out rock fight for a minute until the entire Olympia police department just exploded into the scene. Oh, now we've got an excuse to start crushing people's sticks in the dirt. Oh, I shouldn't have said that part on the stream. I'm sorry.
Dude, I'm not quite as strict about that sort of thing as she is.
No. It has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with me being a potty mouth. But more.
Well, in that case, bad dog.
Bad dog, no biscuit.
That was a little harsh, but okay.
Where's my newspaper?
Hey, that's fair. But yeah, the all-out rock fight blows up. The cops saw who threw the first rock, so don't waste my time. For you Antifa defenders out there, don't bother trying to lie to me. Cops saw who threw the first rock, and that's exactly the guy they were going after first.
Yeah.
And the whole rest of that formation just got caught up in that and started fighting the cops. And honestly, I think that was their point. They were looking for a fight with the cops. Didn't expect it to come from the homeless people, the pretext for the fight with the cops to come from the homeless people. But by God, they got what they wanted. And the cops got to do what they wanted to do.
Yep.
Olympia police, don't bother lying to me. I know better. And it was completely justifiable. And
Hell yeah.
It's just too bad you couldn't just open fire. But okay, it is what it is. That is a much more recent example of the Second Amendment being used exactly the way it was intended.
Fair enough.
Well, I think the what a lot of people are getting hung up on is that they talk about like, oh well, they just meant black powder rifles and that sort of thing and all that, and it's like no. It says arms. It comes from the Latin arma, which means weaponry.
Back in the day, it was legal to own a damn cannon. It was legal to own a warship. I mean, privateers were a thing.
Oh no, no. There were people who privately owned artillery pieces.
Merchant fleets carried their own artillery.
Yeah,
ships did too. Well, ships' guns, by the way. But yeah, people privately owned cannons. They had them on their front lawns, in their living rooms, in their whatever. And there's at least one case from the Civil War of it being used. Yep. It was fired down the ladder well at some guy's house at Union troops bursting in his door. He opened fire with a cannon in his own house, which is probably not the best idea on earth. Killed like 4 or 5 Union soldiers and forced them to back out and go around that house.
Yeah.
This is somewhere in Texas, and they ended up burning the entire city. Not because of this by itself. This probably had nothing. They were probably going to burn the city anyway at this point. But by goddamn, he took some Union soldiers with him.
Right.
It's as simple as that. And they didn't come in there and massacre that family.
Right.
Real quick here. Bernie asked a question, if we believe Texas will secede. Well, yeah, I think that they may try, but if I understand correctly, in order for a state to secede from the Union or a Commonwealth or anything, U.S. territory, what have you, does there not have to be a consensus in Congress?
You might want to read the Texas Constitution because I think they have something in there covering just that.
Good luck with that.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to pull it off, but I'm pretty sure they're going to try.
Oh
What
no,
happened?
you know what? And I hope I hope they do try, and I hope they fucking succeed. I hope that a number of states do so and manage to do so without bloodshed. I don't think that's possible, but I would hope that would be the case.
Yeah, I think we're way past the peaceful divorce,
I think,
possibility.
Texas, Florida, Wyoming, the Dakotas, Montana. I would like to see these states.
I'd like to see Jefferson finally secede from the rest of those states, and tell Salem and Sacramento to go themselves in the ass with a brick, like they did in 19.
It always comes down to bricks. It always comes down to bricks,
always
man.
comes down to bricks. But so with a brick, like they actually did in 1941. Yeah, 1941. Most people don't realize there should actually be 51 states right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
What do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's excited.
But it can wait for after.
Well, unfortunately, I won't get a whole lot of time after stream. I've still got more shit to do as usual. But that's everyone's like, man, why does Maester always bug out right at the end of the stream? Because I'm usually busy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, I think we probably are going to bring it to a close today because I also have something I need to be getting to here soon. Within the next little while here. But Carrie, I will see. I'm going to see you tonight.
What time?
She hasn't. I haven't heard from her in a couple of days, so it could be 7 p.m. her time. It could be, I don't know, midnight. Who knows? We'll see.
Okay, that's fair.
So if I hear about it before you do, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Everybody in the chat, you've been amazing. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you guys coming out. Normally, for those of you who are new here, Maester Chow is with me. He is my hetero life mate. He is my everything. He is the wind beneath my wings. Not to get too gay about it.
Yeah. You crossed that rainbow bridge like 3 sentences ago.
I mean, what's a rainbow bridge for if not crossing, right?
Don't make me get my unicorn.
I'm just saying there aren't a lot of chicks in Valhalla. Just saying.
I beg to differ. There's Valkyries. I mean, you might have to fight them first.
Yeah,
but they're
like
there.
6 of them versus how many hundreds of dead Vikings?
So there's like sloppy 660 seconds or something. But I mean,
well, there's more women in Valhalla now. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I would say there have been a lot of female veterans, and they go there too. So, I believe the Allfather accepts a whole host of people.
Not the Hogfather people.
No, the Hogfather is a whole other thing.
No, that's why I said the Allfather.
I know. Carrie said Hogfather.
Oh.
So that being said, I'm going to lead the outros with anything you guys want to you got coming up that you want to plug at all.
So you will be able to. I'm finally got my rig set up to start doing my rants. So once I have my channel link, I'll start plugging the crap out of that. But I will be. You can find me at youtube.com/Maester Chow. You're not going to find anything yet, but it's a coming.
Good deal. Carrie?
On my BitChute channel, but not on my YouTube channel, I will have the entire Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future series as one 7-hour long video in about 2 hours-ish. It'll go public. So if you're old enough to remember that, Carrie salvaged everything for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey,
he loves us. No, fair enough. And as far as I go, this is where obviously if you're here, you know where to find me. here or on the Exiled Lioness channel, where I am often in the background, but you can most of the time find me in the chat. That goes for Kerry too. He's usually there too. He is our pit bull.
Bad dog. Bad dog.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. So, in that vein, thank you for coming. Don't like, subscribe, don't subscribe. You know, it's your call. Do whatever.
No. Smash that like button. Share this video. Subscribe. Ring that bell. Do everything you got to do. Plug it.
And comment.
Plug it all. Comment.
I'm easy. You know, free country, free YouTube land, what have you. It's not a free YouTube land, by the way.
No, it's peer pressure. Peer pressure.
Mama Susan is the dark helmet of the internet.
We love you, Susan, you cunt.
Yeah. So once again, this has been Screaming into the Void, where we talk about whatever the hell we feel like. And thank you all for coming. New people, thank you for showing up. Glad to have you. Excellent interaction. Our guest today has been Mandatory Carry, and with me, as always, is Maester Chow.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth. Good night, everybody.